In June of 1948, Bishop John Francis Knowles saw the rapidly growing number of Catholics in South Bend and Mishawaka and turned to the assistant to the pastor at St. Monica's to begin laying the groundwork for a new parish on the east side of South Bend. Father Jerome Bonk, known for his devotion to religious education and thoughtful approach to leadership, was named the founding pastor of St. Anthony de Padua Parish. The ground was broken at 2310 East Jefferson Boulevard on May 3, 1949, for the construction of a classroom building that included an all-purpose room in the basement level to be used as a temporary church. 10 years later, construction began on the church building we know and worship in today.
We're celebrating the 75th Jubilee of St. Anthony de Padua Parish. That means that for 75 years, people in South Bend have called this place their spiritual home.
Was the school here from the beginning?
Yes, not quite as it is now, but the school has always been a very important part of our parish.
When Bishop Knoll appointed Father Bonk to begin the work to form the new St. Anthony's Parish, he was intent on creating a community that would serve the young members of South Bend's Catholic population, as well as the adults. The bishop knew that Father Bonk was devoted to youth programs and athletics, in addition to religious education, and with the foresight that a school would be a central part of the parish life of St. Anthony's, he made use of Father Bonk's gifts. Groundbreaking took place at 2310 East Jefferson Boulevard on Sunday, May 3, 1949. This building currently stands as the eastern wing of the present school. If you visit the office shared by Director of Communications Catherine O'Callahan, Director of Faith Formation Fernando Garcia, and Director of Music and Liturgy Andrew Skiff, you will see a door adorned with 3 crosses that was part of this very first construction. When the building was complete enough for classes to be taught in the fall of 1950, 96 students enrolled in grades 1 through 3, instructed by the Sisters of St. Joseph of the Third Order of St. Francis, under the leadership of Sister Mary Albina, who served for 7 school years as the first principal of St. Anthony's. By 1953, the school had already outgrown its 4 original classrooms, and the west wing of the school was constructed, accommodating classrooms for 8 full grades. By 1955, 400 students were enrolled at St. Anthony's. In these early days of the school, tuition was $20 per year per child, with $10 charged for each additional child in a family. The Sisters of St. Joseph of the Third Order of St. Francis continued to be the primary school staff, working with Father Bonk, who was invested as Right Reverend Monsignor Bonk in 1961, to oversee the learning and spiritual development of the youngest St. Anthony parishioners. In 1972, Father Robert A. Yaste became the second pastor of St. Anthony's, inheriting a thriving school and church community.
I can remember the very first Mass that I said here, and I remember the people that came in the sacristy and welcomed me to the parish.
The parish then was about how big?
I think it was about 1,400 families, maybe, somewhere in there.
And it's now?
Now it's close to 1,900. A lot of that is due to the school, though, because we have a lot of people from Knollwood and from Granger, and there's no Catholic school out there. So they send all their children here. I think the school is the important part. Of course, financially, it's always a drain on any parish because the faculty is much underpaid, and yet each year their salary goes up some, but the giving of the people, for the most part, remains at a standard, a certain level. So the new priest that comes is really lucky. He's got a good parish to come to.
As more and more lay teachers had joined the sisters in staffing the school throughout the 1970s, Father Yaste appointed the first lay principal, Jim Bankowski, in 1979. 2 years later, Father Yace and Mr. Bankowski led the St. Anthony's community through another school expansion, this time adding 6 new classrooms on the north side of the building. This addition provided space to fill 2 classrooms for each grade, allowing school enrollment to grow to 482 students for the 1983 school year.
I taught at St. Anthony's from 75 until 78. So Father Yace came to me and he goes, "Would you be interested in being the principal?" And I said to him, "Where?" He goes, "St. Anthony's." I said, "Well, it's Sister Joella." Yeah, you'd be replacing her. Why not? It's worth a try. I was there when Sister Joella was there. I knew what needed to be improved, and I knew where we needed to start. We had 2 of many grades, but we had 1 of several, and we were out of room. So I finally, when you were looking ahead, and I finally told Father Yace, I said, "We're going to be out of room, and we're going to have to turn kids down." And so we had a committee going and decided to add on to the school and added 6 new classrooms on. And the following year opened up, we had almost 2 of every grade. And then the following year after that, we were up to 450 kids.
This was not a job for me. It was something that I liked to do. And so I looked forward to going every day. I don't know about you, Jim. It was like, it wasn't going to a job. It was just going to do what I wanted to do. And
We were family.
we were.
Other recognitions came for the school during Mr. Bankowski's tenure, as St. Anthony's surpassed its continuous level certification and received first-class school certification from the state of Indiana. These recognitions continued under the tenure of Martha Llewellyn, who became principal in 1987 and served the St. Anthony's community in this capacity for 22 years.
Well, I know when I was here as principal, we were seen as one of the premier education centers in South Bend. St. Anthony's was a school that a lot of people wanted to go to, and I would have waiting lists and couldn't get everybody in. You know, we started many things in the school. The history fair was one of the things that I recall that St. Anthony's began that, and it spread to the other parish schools, and that was always one of those things that was competitive, but it also brought our schools together. Our student council was one, and we helped get that started in a few other schools. So, you know, we shared our expertise with them.
Continued growth and academic recognition led Father England, who succeeded Father Yace as the 3rd pastor of St. Anthony's, and Mrs. Llewellyn to oversee yet another school renovation, this time adding 4 classrooms, a science and language lab, computer learning center, administrative offices, faculty lounge, meeting rooms, and an elevator providing barrier-free access. It was also under Mrs. Llewellyn's leadership that 2 former St. Anthony students returned as teachers.
And I ran into one of my old teachers, Teresa Myers, when I was waiting tables. And she asked me, "Well, would you be willing to teach computers?" And I thought, well, sure, why not? It sure beats serving food. And Martha Llewellyn, who was my former 7th grade teacher, hired me. She was the principal. That's how I came back to St. Anthony's. What about you?
Well, when I graduated from Bethel College and I was looking for a teaching job, one of the openings was here. And my license was in high school, but the opening was in middle school. And Martha Llewellyn hired me saying, well, you know, if you teach here for a year, you can expand your license from 7 through 12 to 5 through 12. And I said, okay, that sounds good. And then I never left.
Nor would I want to leave. I mean, one of the reasons I come here every single day is I love those students. I love St. Anthony's students.
The school, a foundational piece of St. Anthony's from the very beginning, remains a thriving and central part of the life of the parish today.
But there are a lot of schools and churches in South Bend. Why did they build this one?
Well, In South Bend and Mishawaka in 1940s, there were lots of Catholic families, but not enough schools or churches.
In the century leading up to the founding of St. Anthony's, the population in northern Indiana had seen a dramatic increase. As South Bend's population rose to over 110,000 in the wake of World War II, approximately 650 new households were established in the city every year, many of them Catholic. With great intention, the diocese acquired 6 acres of land at Ironwood Drive and Jefferson Boulevard, previously the site of a small fruit stand.
There's a lot of people that when I first came, they told me about the property across the street and about old Mr. Dugdale, and he didn't want the Catholic Church built here at all. And so he did everything he could to disrupt it. Had farmers come in and sell their wares right on the corner here to disrupt traffic, and he was very outspoken against Monsignor Bonk and about him building the church here. And yet, when I came, I got so many stories about him that I just had to go over and see him. And he was gracious. He was a nice old guy. He was just hoeing away in his garden, and I was just talking to him. Now I realize after he died that they found all those fruit jars of money in his garden. So I thought he was tending the tomatoes. He had, I think, $68,000 in coins buried in his garden.
Plans to build the formal St. Anthony de Padua Church began in 1958, and Father Bonk immediately turned to Anthony Panzica, a young architect in South Bend, to guide its overall design and construction. While Father Bonk had originally envisioned a traditional Georgian-style church extending from the school, which had already been built in that style, Panzica convinced him to move the church to the east end of St. Anthony's tract of land. This foresight not only facilitated future school growth, it also allowed Panzica the creativity and freedom to design the church in a bold, modernist style while still incorporating classical elements. On Sunday, April 24, 1960, Bishop Leo Persley dedicated St. Anthony de Padua Church, following the celebration of a high noon Mass. Bishop Persley was assisted by more than 35 priests from parishes around the region, as the entire diocese celebrated along with the parishioners of St. Anthony's.
When they were building the church, where did they get all the art from?
How long did it take them to make the stained glass windows?
Most of the art in the church was done by an artist called Andrew Malia. He is well known for doing stained glass, mosaics, and sculptures.
Andrew Malia was born in Catania, Sicily in 1905 and began studying with an elderly master craftsman before moving to Detroit, founding Malia Studios, and making a name for himself as an accomplished liturgical artist. Malia was responsible for the design of all the mosaic pieces and stained glass windows throughout the church, and while he had multiple large projects underway at the time, the vast majority of these pieces were ultimately created by artisans at his own studio.
These windows are absolutely alive. They're not animated by digital code, but by nature, by the sun and the clouds and the passage of time. This reminds us that the realities of our belief picture here are still playing out, that our lives are a part of the story here and now, and that in the mystery of the liturgy, we stand at the meeting point of Christ's sacrifice 2,000 years ago and the future of our salvation already won, both made present to us.
Malia Studios was also responsible for the carved wood statues in the church, the original hand-painted Stations of the Cross, the gilded tabernacle, and the carving of a pelican that adorns the main altar. While we don't know for sure how long it took to construct all of these powerful and intentional pieces of art, it is safe to assume that multiple teams of craftspeople devoted much of the 2 years of church planning and construction to bringing Malia's designs to life. We do know that it took just over a year for the custom-built Wicks organ to be created and installed in the church choir loft, receiving its dedication with a special recital a month after the first Mass was celebrated in the new church. The 26-voice St. Anthony's Choir was joined by Notre Dame professor and esteemed concert organist Daniel H. Petke for the event. Here's just a bit of their performance from May 29, 1960.
So is this place just getting bigger and bigger, and is it still growing?
75 years is a very long time, and there are many different ways this place has grown. Not always in number of students or parishioners, but sure it has kept growing. And by the grace of God, it will continue to grow, especially spiritually and in the mission of Christ.
At the time of church planning and construction in the late 1950s, it's true that St. Anthony's was the fastest growing parish in South Bend. It's also true that the school has seen many different phases of growth and expansion over the years. But the journey of St. Anthony's has had many other milestones along the way, reflecting the developments in our city and across the diocese of Fort Wayne, South Bend. After 1960, South Bend's population began a steady decline. As families in the suburbs grew, so did St. Anthony's membership, since there were no Catholic schools in these areas.
We're getting a lot of new people in the parish because of the school. In fact, we have to turn people away. So that's always a heartbreaker to tell people they don't have room in the school.
Could it be expanded?
No.
No.
The only way they could do it is make St. Pius X build a school.
Mm-hmm.
And they really should. There's so many kids out there.
In those days, the school was bigger than it is now. In fact, the parish at that time, I remember when we first were coming here, it was standing room only for most of the masses, and there were 4 masses on the weekend. So that changed a lot with the way parishes have changed in the area. But that was a good start for us coming here at St. Anthony's.
Large enrollment bolstered the 1981 and 1994 physical expansions of the school, as well as the expansion of school programs. Parish life was equally robust, with many social groups and activities, as well as opportunities for service, stewardship, and prayer.
One of the things I was really struck by when the parish was founded in the late 40s, early 50s, just the variety of groups, Legion of Mary, Rosary Society, Altar Society, St. Vincent, Knights of Columbus, on and on, that was really a really vigorous, vibrant community.
It's just a friendly parish, and everybody seemed to want to do things. We had a great Ushers Club. We had a terrific Rosary Society. Oh my goodness, we had so many ladies. We had a great choir all the time, and everything was perfect at St. Anthony's. I mean, I can't say enough about it. I like to walk with a banner here, go to St. Anthony's, belong to St. Anthony's, you know.
Parish life continued to grow and evolve until the 2000s, when the national housing bubble burst and the Great Recession hit South Bend.
As doing a little history, I've uncovered the fact that that time there were 1,750 families at the parish, and we know that right now that's not the case at all. A lot of people moved out when St. Pius was opened up with a school out there, and the demographics of the parish, have changed, but it's still a lovely place with a lot of solid, good parishioners that really love St. Anthony's.
The first quarter of this century has also seen 7 different pastors guiding St. Anthony's, after just 3 different priests had served the parish in this role across its first 50 years. This reality also contributed to a feeling of uncertainty and a search for a new parish and school identity. While challenging for the parishioners, who still called St. Anthony's home, encountering these new realities spurred a different kind of growth. New opportunities for deepening of faith, establishing traditions, and reinvigorating a focus on serving the South Bend community and neighborhood around St. Anthony's have been hallmarks of this time.
I came in 2011, and St. Pius had opened their school several years before that. I think it was actually under Father Derek, and there was a real pull there over to the big new school and everything. So Father Derek struggled with it a little bit, and then Father Mark came in and he got Chad Barwick as a principal, who was very, very dynamic, recruiting type of principal. So he really got us started back in the right direction when he came.
When I took over, there was a large debt. The school was struggling. Although we had a good principal, Chad Barwick, who came just a year before I came. I think mass attendance was, struggling too. So I think those were the big challenges. We made some inroads on the debt. The school ballooned up as far as enrollment goes. A lot of that I credit to Chad. I think we went from like 290 to 360. And then it seems like mass attendance went way up too during that time.
Significant outcomes since I've been the principal would most certainly include what I feel is a stronger connection between the parish and the school. I've seen that relationship grow over time, and as we've had different pastors come in or different leadership, even just volunteers, it seems we're continually growing closer. Over the years, we've put systems and processes in place that have just been much more conducive to a true parish life as opposed to a church and a school.
Now in 2024, St. Anthony's is home to more than 500 families and 240 students, open and ready to learn and grow in whatever ways the Lord has in store for us.
I feel like we take good care of people at St. Anthony's, but do we take care of people who are not at our school?
Yes, I think we do. Think about opportunities like the Advent Giving Tree, St. Vincent de Paul Ministry, the mini vinis, the diaper drives, the food drives. Whether parishioners or not, we actually reach out to those folks in the wider community.
From the very beginning, even from the time the parish was just an idea in the mind of Bishop Knoll, the goal of St. Anthony's has always been to provide a warm and welcoming community. Each pastor and school principal have carried this mission forward in their own unique way.
I've loved the spirit, I've loved the people. Over in the school, you couldn't beat the parents and the kids. I mean, they were there. We had a real community spirit among the faculty and students, and among the faculty, students, and parents.
The people here, I've just come to know and love the kids. What we do here, it's just that shared vision and sense of collaboration and community that keeps me here.
St. Anthony's has long been home to myriad groups and organizations which not only have cared for the spiritual development of their members, but also have looked outward to serving those in need and providing a space for fellowship and connection. Many of these groups continue to have a significant impact in the greater community.
We started a St. Joseph Men's one-day retreat, started at the auditorium over here. So we started here, and then we actually moved up to the convent up on Dragoon Trail, and then it kept growing So we had guys coming in from Fort Wayne and around other parishes. So I think the biggest gathering we had for that St. Joseph Men's Day, we had 500 or 600 people there at the Steppen Center. That whole thing got picked up by people in Fort Wayne who were coming here, and they organized a bigger, more far-ranging event for the Men's Day.
St. Anthony's has also been open to receiving and sharing gifts from the global community. In 2009, Ivan Dragijevich, one of the 6 young people who began experiencing visions of Mary in Medjugorje in 1981, visited St. Anthony's. During an evening of prayer held at our church, Mother Mary appeared to Ivan, who afterwards shared Our Lady's message with all who were present. This was a powerful example of St. Anthony serving as an instrument for the good of the community and of the world. Over the 75 years of our parish history, over 6,200 people have been baptized at St. Anthony's, and 4,800 have received their first communion. More than 500 people have converted to the Catholic faith at our church, and there have been over 4,000 confirmations, close to 1,500 marriages, and 3,000 school graduates. All of these individuals carry forward the mission of St. Anthony's, joining together in love to proclaim Christ to all the world.
And there are so many wonderful people in this parish, and it's great to see that vitality that they all bring. And then when we pull that together, great things happen, both in St. Anthony's, whether it's the school, the parish, or I think our larger community.
Our parish benefits from continuing to expand its vision, and our community benefits from the many voices, individuals, and experiences that continue to impact our collective story.
With all the changes at St. Anthony, how do you feel to belong to St. Anthony's?
The community at St. Anthony's is like a family for all parishioners and even for the new parishioners. Now, guys, I have a question for you. How does it feel for you to be at St. Anthony's?
Something I really love about this school is all the amazing people and teachers and how nice and kind they are.
Our lessons are good for your mind, fun, and our teachers are the best.
We develop great leadership and we work as a team.
What I love about St. Anthony's is probably the teachers and the friends you'll meet.
When you walk into a room, there's always someone to greet you, and when you need help, there's always someone right there for you.
A reason I like St. Anthony's is because of the education and how they prepare us for high school.
I like how kind the teachers are to us. I like hanging out with my friends.
One thing I love about St. Anthony's is the good Catholic education we receive and the virtues we practice.
You can feel safe by all the faculty and staff and all the families.
Students who are very nice and are willing to help you if you need to get to classes or to help you in general.
I love coming to St. Anthony's because of the academic opportunities that they allow us to have at the school.
Thank you for being part of the story of St. Anthony, the Padua Parish, South Bend. God bless you as we move forward into the next 75 years of this parish.